At us, we're back. It's Realities May Vary. It's a podcast where, who needs a description? You know what it is. If you listen, you know what it is. If you don't listen, listen and you'll find out what it is. I'm Brian Noonan. That's Cody Gough. Hi, Cody.
I'm Cody Gough. Tonight on Realities Vary,
May vary.
There's a,
At least get the title right.
don't,
For God's sake.
sass me, Brian.
Fine.
This is my intro. This is your
Fair enough. Take two. I'm Brian Noonan. That's Cody Gough.
This is your first time. I apologize for finding us. Ha! And if not, here's what we're talking about. Brian's got a litany of topics. He has a story from an event he attended last week. He has a question about grass.
God, I don't
I can tell you about it. There's a dog malady, which apparently is a word. I actually know it's a word. We're going to talk about a little beer event that is upcoming that I can't make it to. So I don't know why I need to hear about it, but I guess I will anyway. I went to an event celebrating a milestone of members of my family, very excitingly. And there's a new Zelda game, which is the most important thing ever.
Oh,
I'm
my
seeing
goodness.
a little less of my son during the day due to other milestones. So many milestones, to get to.
He had
Today,
his driver's license?
today on Realities Very, very cool.
That's not the name of the show. It's never been the name of the show.
But first, our 10-minute, 15-second check-in. I need a haircut desperately.
I see that. You are uncoiffed. You are unkempt. You look as if you have not bathed.
Today, I actually did bathe, I think, for the first time, unironically, in 3 days.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's been rough.
What's going on at your house?
Well, okay.
Your son has disappeared during the day now. He's gone. He's out on the road. He's a hobo with a knapsack, a bindle.
Long story. What's a bindle?
That's the kerchief on a stick.
Yeah.
The old-timey hobos wear. And yes, I'm saying hobo with a B. So relax, doxers.
Yep. I don't think any doctors listen to our show. I know what you said.
I know you know what I said. That's why I didn't comment.
I had to cancel a haircut last minute for some work, like a work meeting. Something happened, and then I had to cancel my haircut again the next week because our calendars weren't synced right, and my wife had to do stuff, and I had to watch the kids. So canceled twice in a row, and then I was leading up. It was like within 2 weeks of an event I attended last week that I'll get into today, and thematically it was kind of a 70s loose 70s theme for it.
Okay.
And so if I was like, well, I'll just let my hair grow out and then I'll just look like a rejected Beatle, which I did, and it was appropriate for the event. So but now this is a lot.
Do you still go to the same place?
Yes, to the same stylist, which is why I felt bad about rescheduling twice. But
wait, what? He's back?
No.
Yeah, he never came back.
No, there's a woman at the salon that now does it who's very good.
Okay, very nice. I see.
Anyway, yeah. What's your check-in? Quick check-in.
No, just exhausted. These the kids at school are, it's the last couple weeks and they're out of their minds. And I'm really tired of arguing with 6-year-olds. Because you
get enough of that with me.
Close. Between you and my mother and the 6-year-olds, I'm all argued out.
My God.
Yeah, all argued out. It's that's the big check-in. Mother's Day. Did you do anything for your beloved wife on Mother's Day? She's the mother of your 2 children.
Yeah, I got rid of her. That's actually not entirely a joke. I gave her a one-night stay at a local hotel for Mother's Day to get away from the family.
The Brer Rabbit right down North Avenue there?
I don't know what that is, but sure.
You need to travel around your area a little more.
Probably. North Avenue is pretty long. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, but, it's between your house and 83.
What is 83?
Okay, I can't do this.
Is that Kingery Highway?
That is the Kingery Highway. Yes, Route 83, the Kingery Highway. Yes.
All right. You're doing the Chicago thing where instead of saying the number that everyone knows, you say the name.
No, I said the number that everybody knows.
And instead of saying, okay, so because I know 90, 94, 355, like those are numbers.
Correct.
I also know Kingery Highway, which is a word, and North Avenue. But
I
like,
don't know if it's Kingery Highway all the way up though.
oh,
I think by you it might be just Route 83.
I have a whole stand-up comedy routine
You
about
are boy, yeah, you ought to take it to an open mic.
about Chicago roads. It's very funny. It's very funny. I have written it,
I
but
think you've been talking about this stand-up comedy routine forever. I have never heard it nor seen you perform it.
well, I've got like 3 jokes, like
3 bits.
It's like 3 bits. It's not. It's like a 5-minute opening warm up
Wow.
for an open mic.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of material, but what I have is gold. Why? Usually when I look, usually my eye. All right, like in the split screen, I'm looking
Right.
away from you. Usually it's reversed. I feel like, and usually I'm looking the other way. Something's weird today.
I think we're on the same.
We are. Everything's
we're
the
on
same.
the same side.
But I swear I'm usually looking. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Did you rearrange your office?
No, I haven't done anything. I'm way too lazy for that.
You
No,
haven't painted?
I got her a night stay at like a local, like a Westin or somewhere, and I just wanted to find a place with a pool and breakfast.
Yeah. Okay.
And give her a full. You're mirrored.
I am.
Yeah, you're the Brian Noonan's backwards.
There was a problem with my camera when I turned it on too. Embed stream. Video. Why is that on?
I have mirror camera.
All right.
This is the way I usually look.
This is the way you usually look?
And that's the way you usually. Okay, now we're fixed.
Okay. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't. After the last time we fixed it, I didn't touch it.
Yeah, sometimes it just
Restream.
The app is
driving
just
me crazy.
Yeah, we're an app. We're gonna change the default.
Shit. Anyway, thanks, Mike. Mike is Mike, the technical guru for the program. Now, if you could just fix Cody's content, it would all be fantastic.
No, it's unfixable. The week leading up to Mother's Day was a very sleepless week for primarily my wife. So I literally
did the baby have some trouble?
Both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
What's with the kid? What's with the son?
Well, that ties into one of my stories today.
Yeah, let's go to it. Let's get to it.
That's why I'm seeing less of him. It's because
because you sent him away. Oh my God, how bad was he?
He's in
prison,
preschool.
Preschool at 2.5. He's
it might be
3, right?
It might be a daycare. I don't know if it's a daycare, but I feel weird calling it a daycare.
I gotta go daycare because preschool usually doesn't start till 3 or 4.
All right, fine. But it's more school-like because it's a Spanish immersion daycare.
Ay caramba.
So they exclusively speak Spanish.
Does your son speak Spanish?
He's evidently, because he's under 3, he will basically be speaking Spanish within like a month.
But will he still speak English?
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I got no beef with somebody knowing a second language.
No, it's great. No,
it's great. It's very good.
And he gets to socialize with kids, which he hasn't done for most of his life, kids his age. And
okay.
It's good. It's very good for him, but he's gone.
How did this decision come about?
Oh, we've been thinking about it. Well, we've been thinking about it for months. It happened because I got a job.
Yeah. Because they got tuition there, right?
They do.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So 3 days a week he's gone. I mean, we're talking like 8 to 5. He's gone.
Just stop it.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's
8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Matilda.
Yeah.
Let me do the math. That's 9 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. That seems like a lot for a 2.5-year-old, but that's just me, not my kid. What am I going to tell you?
I mean, we miss him during the day. We don't like that he's gone, but he's got to make some friends.
9 hours worth? How much do 2-year-olds have to talk about?
Interact with.
I would think after, hey, you like cars and trucks? Me too. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. That's pretty much, listen, we have trouble sometimes talking for an hour and a half, and we're grown with a lot of stuff going on. If you're 2.5, hey, did you poop yourself today? I did. Did I mention I like toy cars and trucks? You did mention that. Huh. All right. Well, how about chicken nuggets? How do you feel on chicken nuggets? Books and milk? Anything? That's
You say that, but you've seen my son talk, and he can go.
I fear that he will not have anyone who will match his conversational skills. And then he'll leave there going, why did they send me to a house of dullards? What have they? Yes, I'm learning Spanish so I can say el stupido in 2 languages because these kids have nothing on the ball. They don't even know that we have the rabbit book. What was the book? The book you wanted me to read?
Peter Rabbit?
No, I forget the one that
the Mouse Ate the Moon? No.
Some book that he brought last time he was here that he was like, we have that if you'd be interested.
He said that?
Yes. I told you that story on here, but I can't remember the name of the book now. But yeah, all right. So he packs his bindle and he leaves the house at 7:30.
Yep.
Then he gets home in time for dinner.
Walks uphill both ways.
Sure he does. And then he comes home and you make him a cocktail like you have right there. And he sits down and he complains about his day. His day was a backbreaker.
Yeah.
Another day full of dullards.
Pretty much.
This one kid pooped himself, actually played with it. I can't be in this kind of environment. You know how many boogers I saw eating today, Dad? El Bugueros. Mucho bugueros were consumed-o.
This is off the rails already. Yeah. Look, we miss him, and it's not like we couldn't watch him. Like, because some parents send their kids to daycare, preschool because they can't watch them. They're working, they're doing whatever. We could, but and it's good for the daughter too because she has gotten no attention. We never pay attention to her because he's demanding all of it. Now she loves when he's around, which is great.
Sure,
but
good.
He leaves, and my wife and I can actually pay attention to her for 3 seconds, which is also nice for her. So it's we just needed to. We're just doing it a few days a week, just for the next few months. I might pare it back a little bit once he's a little more comfortable with the language and he starts to be a little more chatty about it. But yeah, it's an adjustment. I miss him during the day, when he's not here. He's not barging into my office. He's also not screaming and crying while I'm having calls, which is probably good.
That's good.
But yeah.
You don't have to justify it. Yeah. Don't be defensive.
Just you sound a little judgy there.
But for the time, not for him going and learning this stuff. That's a long fucking day. Pardon me. That's
wow.
It's a long day for grown-ups. How much nap time do they get?
He gets breakfast and then they get lunch later and then they do nap time at 1. I think he goes down for an hour or two.
A little nap time.
He naps better there than here because usually.
Are you sure they're not making him do child labor?
No, actually,
string beads together or anything.
Part of why this is interesting is any parents here maybe find this interesting is there's an app where they send us pictures and updates throughout the day.
Nice.
This is very 2023, right? Our parents did not have this.
No.
You didn't have this when you were, when your daughter was growing up.
No, we did not.
But I got 8:26 a.m. signed in. So we get to sign it. So you actually give them a list of people who are authorized to drop off and pick up, and then a list of people who are not authorized specifically.
Right. Yeah, I'm still a little upset that I got on that list somehow.
Well,
anyway, sure. After my tirade,
8:26 a.m. signed in. Great. So I knew that my wife arrived and didn't crash on the way.
Dropped. All right.
8:58 a.m. He ate all of the breakfast. No surprise.
I was going to say, okay. So far, he's on brand.
We also feed him before he leaves, by the way.
Yeah, but he's getting a breakfast.
Yeah. And then 9:15 a.m. there's a photo of him sitting on a little carpet and the teacher's holding something up and all the little kids are sitting there kind of watching. Acciones para cuidar el medio ambiente.
Oh, no. Do they send all the messages in Espanol too?
No, the next one just says circle time.
Oh, all right.
Then later park, and there's a picture of him sitting on a slide in a playground looking miserable. Looking like he wants to die. And then later, he ate some of the lunch. Later, wet diaper was changed. Started nap at 1:01. Ended nap at 2:44.
Oh, wow. That's a long nap. All right. That's a long nap.
It's great. So we get a few pictures of the day. We kind of know what he's doing. And when he gets home, we can say things like, oh, did you paint pictures of frogs today? And his response inevitably is no. Because anything we ask him about, he just says no. And if we say, did you have fun at school? He says no. And if you...
Well, he's a little put out. That he senses it.
He's a little teenager is what he is.
Well, I'm glad. Listen, I think I like that he's expanding his horizons. You know, we need more people to speak more languages, so that'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll be international, which will be fun.
Yeah.
But then he's gonna, tell him he can't. I don't speak Spanish, so he can't bring any books in Spanish over here unless he wants to teach me.
That's fine.
But I think I may be too old.
He probably will teach.
To habla. I don't think I can habla. I can ask him where the bathroom is and if he wants a beer.
Yeah.
Both inappropriate questions for a grown man to ask a toddler.
That's true. You could ask him where to find a beer festival.
How do you say trains and trucks in Spanish?
I don't know.
You'll have to find. I'm sure that's that would be useful information for me to have. If he wants to El Treno or El Trucco. And I know that is not how you say it. So
I should know truck.
No, El Baño's his bathroom, Tony. That much I know.
I gave you a flawless transition right there.
I know. I didn't take it.
Okay.
I didn't take it. I didn't pick it up. I saw. It's, I let it go. I let it go because Marta says next time, since he says no to everything, ask him if he was miserable at school.
As soon as I teach him what miserable means, and
bad, mad, unhappy.
I really have taught him several times. He just doesn't know the word for it. But
well, that sounds good. And he, has he talked about any other kids? Has he met anybody? Has he made friends yet?
He's not said a word about anything.
Really?
Because he resents us. Well, so everyone told us.
Could that be that he resents you?
Yeah, everyone told us the second week is the hardest. And is this the second week? This must be the second week.
Wow.
Yeah, second week. So no, it would be the third week because I almost talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I decided to wait. So this is the start of his third week. And yeah, after the first couple of times, it was funny. So this is the funniest part of it. The first day I figure my wife's going to be a wreck, right?
Sure.
Drop off the kids. So I'm like, I'll go and I'll be your emotional, moral support. It'll be great. I'm picturing, we walk in, we say hi to the teacher or whatever, and then there's a tearful goodbye and all this stuff. So I walk in with her and we walk up to the classroom and, the teacher's in there and there's like 4 or 5 little kids kind of playing in there. And he just like walks right in.
Nice.
And my wife is like, hey, bud, do you want to say bye to mommy? Do you want to say bye to mommy? And he goes, bye. Does not care. There's a bunch of toys and people. And then the teacher's like, okay, bye, mommy. Because they're like, they know. They're like, you got to get out of here. This is just a waste of time. And the teacher's like, okay, bye. And they kind of close it. And then we just start walking away. And she's like, oh, well, like totally anticlimactic. Not a second thought paid to us at all. And then
he was like that when you left him here the last time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you guys were like, hey, we're leaving. And he's like, yeah, you're already gone. I'm here already. We're engaged in stuff already.
Yeah. And she goes, so when she pulls in the driveway after school the first day, she goes, come here for a second, come look at the car. And I go in and he is passed out. Like he's done. Like she got in that car and I guess like he drank a little half cup of milk and then was just out. Because, he's been spoken Spanish to him playing all day and early in the morning.
It's a whole new thing.
It's the first time we've ever woken him up for really anything.
Oh, no. Oh, that's right.
I work
now
at
he's
home.
got to go to school. Let's go.
Yeah. So anyway,
no.
it's going okay. We get him going in the morning. The goodbyes are a little rough right now, but I think.
Oh, are they? I was going to ask if it transitioned to the I don't want to go. Don't leave me. why do you hate me kind of thing.
He's okay till they start to walk up to the school, and then he like won't go in the door. She's got to
Oh,
like pick him
Jesus.
up and put him in and all this stuff. But
Wow. And was that so it's a is it like a private place? Is it one of the chain kind of not chain, but you know, the big name centers?
yeah, they have a few locations. There's one relatively close to us. It's not very close, but we're willing to make the commute. I mean, it's very important to my wife that he's bilingual.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And this is the time when they learn it because everything's not ingrained in them. You know, your son is very good at communicating, but isn't this the time where they say your mind just kind of absorbs it and can learn another language instantly?
Yeah,
almost?
it can like before like 12 or 10 or somewhere around there is really the optimal kind of like range. But before 3, you're really in the like just like home run, basically just say it for like a week and then they'll know it kind of age.
Wow.
So you know, he turns 3 in a few months.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, all right, let's wait till, do that till he's 3. Let's try and get as many reps as we can, 3 days a week for at least a few months. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the end of the year. And then after that, maybe we'll back off to a couple, maybe chill on it a little bit. We'll see. Or if
he might love it.
He might
after that much time, he might be digging it.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm still
I think
employed.
like in my district at 3, you can start preschool, or is it 4?
Probably 3. Well, because they do it. Our park district does have a preschool that he is going to start also in, I think, September.
Nice.
But that's only 2 days a week, and it's like 3 hours a day, 2 or 3 hours.
That's like the preschool at my school is half a day. Like 8:30 to 11:30. Or 8:30 to 11, 2.5 hours each session, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be good. I can't wait to hear him, speak Spanish
and not tell you how preschool is going.
Yeah. Well, kids are very private. You don't want to know what's all, he doesn't need to tell you what's going on there.
He's definitely not private.
I like that he's already keeping things a secret.
He is, not forthcoming about certain. He's a no boy sometimes. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Marta said sometimes it's both a minimum.
Right. You got to be.
Yeah, a minimum age requirement and no diapers. So this daycare will do it. By the time he starts park district preschool, he has to be potty trained, which I'm not that optimistic about right this second.
Is he saying no to that too?
Oh my God, he says no to everything. Well, he's gotten a little better lately. Bath time was a huge fight for a while. Now it's better. Right. Bedtime was a huge fight for probably last month. It's okay now.
This is the year, he's 2. This is the year things are rugged. And then, next year it eases off a little, hopefully.
Yeah.
What do you have? Are you having a cocktail?
I made it old fashioned.
Man, nice.
Yeah. We had
jealous.
We had book club last night with our friends on Zoom.
Oh, very nice. What are you reading?
Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
Wow. All right. That sounds heavy.
It is very intense.
Yeah.
It's like if Shakespeare wrote a beautiful flowing story about horrific genocide and acts of atrocities of murder against many, many people, mostly Indians and Mexicans in the 1800s. So
wow,
it's pretty deep. It's not light. It's not
not
nice.
Fun.
It is not a nice fun. No. It's not funny. It's not fun. But
this is not fun or funny.
But it's a beautiful book. It's a beautifully horrific. They just announced they're going to make a movie. It's not going to be as good as the book. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay.
I don't care who they cast. Well, oh my God, Mike said oh, never mind. Hold on. He said and a 5-hour YouTube video about it. I didn't see his previous comment, but there is a 5-hour YouTube video about Blood Meridian. Is that what he's talking about? My friend sent me a link to a 5-hour YouTube video deconstructing Blood Meridian, and it would be really funny if Mike just happened to be referencing that.
I think that's what he's referencing.
That's hilarious. I haven't watched it, but my friend just sent it to me. And how do you know that? And that's so bizarrely specific. That's hilarious.
How does a book club work? I know you're all reading the book,
Mm.
but you have to have a certain chapter done. A certain chapter done by the time you meet, and then you go over it.
Oh, Mike sent me that on Twitter. He's the one that sent it to me. Oh my God. Of course. Yes. Still haven't watched the full thing, but I did watch a little bit of it. And it was like, oh
5
man,
hours. That's a lot to
God, my
deconstruct.
memory is bad. It's this old fashioned. It's powerful. I don't drink anymore. So what happened was, so my friend Max reads a lot of books. My wife is obviously a comparative literature PhD. She's very well read, loves
Yes.
reading. And my other friend John likes to read. So they talked a bunch. They've had a bunch of conversations over the years about William Faulkner. And I don't remember why, but I think he's like one of Max's favorite authors. And one of his favorite books is The Sound and the Fury. And so it came up in conversation a bunch of times. And long story short, we invited him and his now wife over in like, I don't know, November, October, February, sometime in the last 6 months to hang out. It's probably like November, October. And when they came, they talked about it a bunch. And then we got an email from him that said, hey, do you want to like read this book? We'll do a book club. We'll do like, there's 4 chapters in that book. We'll do 1 chapter every like 3 or 4 weeks. So they're long chapters, but it's like whatever. And we'll just sit down and kind of talk through each other. And that's what we would do. There was like 5 of us on Zoom. We'd sit and there was no itinerary or structure or really like, some people kind of plan out like an outline of like, here's the main points I want to cover. Sometimes you come with a couple like questions about something or a couple observations or a couple quotes that you really enjoyed, basically whatever you want to talk about. And no one really is moderating it. You just kind of like listen to each other and follow the flow of conversation. So,
and do you take notes as you're reading so you have things to chat about?
So I did with The Sound and the Fury. I did not with this book, although I really should have. But I also had the physical copy, so it's easy for me to remember where on the page stuff was if I flip around. And my wife is reading it on her phone which is good because this book contains, Brian, so many vocab words. And I'm not like you. Like I say, you don't even understand how, like, there are like more than 10,000 words in this book that only appear exactly 1 time in the book. Many of them are very specific references to either articles of clothing from like medieval times or Western times or foliage and terrain and different rocks and geography, because it takes place in the Southwest. So Arizona, New Mexico, that area. So he's describing rocks and plants and trees and cacti and stuff like that, and bush and shrubbery and all these things using geological terms. And we'll be like, they waded through like a dense brush of this and this. And you're just like, I don't know what those are. But you don't have to look a lot of them up. But anyway, the point is my wife's on her phone and she can just like tap it and she gets the definition, which is great. Whereas I've had to pull out my phone a lot. A lot of them you just kind of like context clues. You just
you figure, that must be some sort of plant.
Yeah, and I stopped looking. There's no point in looking at plants. But it'll be like there was a line about some line of pioneers going from one city to another, and they named a very obscure city in Ohio that I had never heard of. So I looked it up. I looked up this city. I was like, why? And that city was the site of during the American Civil War or somewhere in the first American wars. It was the site of like a massacre of a peaceful Indian tribe.
Oh, wow.
Which is like a very, very specific reference, right? Like that's why he chose that city.
Yeah,
but like if I hadn't looked that up, there's no way I'd know. So it's a
Right.
very like deep, dense book.
Wow.
But that's what we do for book club is usually it's kind of like, hey, I really love like this, not Cleveland, Martha.
I was thinking Dayton because that is obscure.
No, it's like I don't remember the name of the cities. It's smaller one I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. It's just like what jumped out to you, like what are the burning questions you have for me. Last night there's a passage in the back half of the book where this very central kind of villain-ish character does this monologue about how God is basically war, or like war is like a manifestation of God, and it's this like 3-paragraph philosophy thing. And I'm like, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever read, even though it's like totally twisted and messed up. So we just like talked about that and how I think it's like really interesting. And anyway,
wow.
It's fun book club.
Anybody try to bluff through book club? You guys are intellectuals. You're not going to bluff.
No, they all know that when we meet, I'm at least one chapter behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Man, well, that's yeah. Who gets to pick the books?
So after Faulkner, so my friend John, Icebag John, did not want to read Faulkner, and he mostly hated the book, The Sound and the Fury. So he was like, I've been wanting to read Blood Meridian, and I have read The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
Yes.
And I loved that book. I picked it up at an airport on a whim, just randomly. I'm like, this looks like a good book. And I tore through it in like 4 days. It's like 5 years ago. Loved it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll read more Cormac McCarthy. This is radically different from that in many, many ways. Like way more elevated diction, very different style. But I still love it. So after this, there's a couple options. My wife and I have been doing it the longest. She really wants to do Ulysses by James Joyce.
Wow.
So she read Ulysses. She started reading Ulysses before we went to Ireland. We did a Ulysses tour in Dublin.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And
that is a hard book, though.
She since then has been listening to a Ulysses podcast and is caught up with the whole series. It's some woman and her Irish husband talking about like Ulysses chapter by chapter. And there's like another podcast she's reading, and she's also reading a James Joyce biography and bought this annotated Ulysses that is no joke. It's like the size of a laptop and it's like 2 inches thick. And you open it, and in the middle of the pages is like, looks like a copy of Ulysses, and then just all these annotations on the side.
Oh my God.
She's like deep in it. So she kind of wants to do Ulysses, but she insists it's not a good summer read. It's a fall read. So probably the next book will fall to me, and I really want to read more Isaac Asimov or the other side.
Danielle Steele.
Danielle Steele, yes, big into Danielle Steele. Who wrote I, Robot? Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Was that Asimov?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I feel like such an idiot. I just looked up I, Robot, and all of the top links are sponsored vacuum cleaners.
Vacuum cleaner. That tells you the priorities in this world.
Unbelievable. Of course it was Asimov. Yeah, it was Asimov, but I want to read either an Asimov novel, I, Robot's phenomenal, or Arthur C. Clarke. Something by him, the two like great sci-fi writers. And I've only read I, Robot by Asimov. So
what about Mary Higgins Clark?
I could do Mary Higgins Clark. I could also do Clark Griswold.
Clark Griswold? Michael Clark Duncan's autobiography?
Yeah.
The history of Clark gas stations?
Hey, if you want to read some sci-fi, you can do book club.
I thank you for the invitation. I am not a sci-fi fan.
What if there's no time travel?
Is there a multiverse? I don't want to get involved in a multiverse or time travel.
What about just AI? There's AI everywhere.
AI. I'm not afraid of AI. You know, it's AI would be interesting. Can I just watch the Will Smith movie?
No.
Oh.
No one's allowed to watch Will Smith movie.
All right. Well, then, I just had to. What did I have to read at school? Oh, a very short book, The Incredible Adventures of Edward Tulane. Have you ever read that?
No.
It's kind of not a children's book, but it's kind of a young adult book. And we were doing this program, One Book, One School. And the book took me 3 hours to read. It was not a big deal. But oh my God, it made me cry.
Really?
Do you have a pterodactyl in your room?
There is a mosquito, I think. I did some gardening out on my balcony today. And
nice.
The screen door is open a little bit. Pretty sure I just nailed it.
Yeah, it's not all the windows are open here at the house. We're going to buy all our flowers this weekend. Memorial Day weekend is when we get our flowers and we start our garden again. So I have to build another. Nice. I have to build another. Last year we got that elevated garden box, and it was so jam packed that Debbie ordered another one. So I got to put that together. Then we're gonna have double garden, plus all the flower baskets. So
does this tie into your grass question?
No. Here's the grass. I don't understand. I cut the grass the other day. This I don't understand. It hadn't rained in 5 days. My grass is still wet. It's every time I go to cut it, the grass is soaking wet, even though it. Now, when did I cut it? I don't know. I'm going to cut it this Thursday. Now, it's not supposed to rain all week. It didn't rain since last Friday. I'm guaranteeing it's going to be wet. I don't know what's going on with my grass, but it's growing now nicely. So, I got to do it, but the moisture is killing me, because then I have to do it twice because it's clumping up. It's not filling the bag. It's a whole big thing.
Yeah.
And you know me, I have no patience.
Have you tried not running your sprinkler every night?
Listen, I don't live in the suburbs like you, Fancy Jane. I don't have a sprinkler system anymore.
I do a sprinkler system. I do
two of my homes did have in-ground sprinkler systems.
Oh my God.
I used to be one of the 1% of the 1%.
I have one hose hookup and it's in the front. I can't even use the hose in the back unless I run a 50 footer back there.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one or no, it's not Marta. The dog's here. Listen, this is my fenced-in backyard. There's nobody gets in that yard. Possum got in there once. Lawson brought him in the house, so we know nothing gets in there except a baby possum. Yeah, I don't. It's the neighbors. My one neighbor doesn't even have any grass in his yard. My neighbor Rodney, he's just got a patio and then his garage, because he's got a bungalow on a little city lot, and so there's there's a small patio and it's right in his garage. He doesn't even have any grass. So, and my yard is not gigantic. It's small actually, because it's a city lot. Yeah. But it's got some grass. I like to look out at the grass from the deck.
You got a nice deck though.
Oh, I love the deck. Yesterday I wanted to we'd been running around doing stuff with my mom the last 5-6 weekends, and Debbie was staying at her house, and we had, other stuff going on. And so my aunt had said that she would take over. This is the final week of my mom needing the eye drops, and it's just twice a day, once in the morning, once anytime at night. So my aunt was like, well, I'll do the last week because I live right here. That's great. Well, Debbie calls on Friday, because I was going to go out on Saturday and stay over again and blah, blah. And she's like, your aunt said she'd start on Sunday. I'm like, oh, that's great. So you can come home and I don't have to stay over. She's like, yeah, but we had planned on cleaning out my mom's office, which, as you remember from the garage clean out and the bedroom clean outs, it's lovely when you have to clean stuff out. But the point of the story is, yesterday we didn't have to go to my mom's house. So I had stuff I vowed I was not going to leave the house. So I got stuff done. I got some cleaning done. I got some laundry done. I got little things done. And I had gone to Jewel the other night because they had chicken breasts on sale for 99 cents a pound. So I bought a ton of chicken to put in the freezer, but I cut up some to make kebabs yesterday. I had all my meal prep done for last night's dinner. And at 2:30, I went out on the deck with my little Bluetooth speaker. I was in a mood for some Jackson Brown. We had a Jackson Brown soundtrack. We had some mango margaritas, a little charcuterie, and then we played Scrabble. And it was a phenomenal.
Dude.
Just phenomenal. Sat there. Debbie beat me by 2 points the first game, and then I demolished her in the second game. I demolished her. I taught her who was the king of verbiage in this house. And so we hadn't played. Last time we played Scrabble, we were at a brewery. And we were like, oh, look, they have all these games. Let's play Scrabble. Scrabble is fun.
And are you sure you were playing Scrabble and not Scrapple?
I was eating Scrapple. That was on the charcuterie board.
Oh.
So I was eating Scrapple while playing Scrabble.
Not bad.
Yes. And then I felt artistic, so I began to scribble.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Scribble, Scrabble.
Will you rouse the rabble?
I always rouse the rabble.
Well, dude, my wife loves Scrabble.
Does she really?
Yeah.
See, you guys would be fun to play with because you're both very intelligent as well.
I don't know.
Notice how I patted myself on the back there.
Did I tell you about the time I played in a Scrabble tournament at Gen Con?
No.
Gen Con had a Scrabble tournament, and let's just say people that are really serious about playing Scrabble make the game very not fun to play.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they know every 2-letter word in the in the dictionary, and there's a lot of 2-letter words. I think like QI is a 2-letter word. Like
It is?
L-Y-L-E. There's a ton of super obscure
What
ones.
are those words, or are they like? Because I know you can't use prefixes or suffixes.
No, these are obscure 2-letter words to play in Scrabble. I just said that. So yeah, like tournament word list: AA, AB, AD, AE, AG, AH, AI. A followed by almost any letter is legal. And these are actually 2-letter words
I gotta
in the
get a
tournament
Scrabble
word
dictionary
list.
then.
QI, XI, XU.
Oh, I could have won. I could have dominated.
Yeah. Ta, T, tie, two. So T followed by any vowel except for U. SH is
That's
a
not
word.
a word. That's a blend. It's a diagraph.
OI is a word.
No, that's OUI. OI is a word.
OS is a word.
Oh, come on. I'd be
NU.
challenging my ass off.
MM is a word.
No, it's not.
I'm KA, KI, lolly low. I mean, like it's
No,
insane. It's
no.
insane. It's
No.
the official tournament and club word list, OTCWL. There are 107 acceptable 2-letter words.
How? It says it's a
listed
Scrabble word, but is it a word?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is MM an English word? Written abbreviation for millimeter, but it's an abbreviation.
And then there's another 20 2-letter words that are acceptable only in the Collins Scrabble words. I don't know what Collins Scrabble words is. I'm not going to go that far down the rabbit hole, but like OO is a word. OU is a word. YU. So like these are like not words you say or know, right? No one does. But there's
Right.
127 plus 20 if you play with the variant. So yeah, I played against a woman, I think in her late 40s, early 50s, who clearly spent most of those years memorizing all 127 2-letter words because every play was a 2-letter word.
That's no fun.
And the benefit is that lets you play adjacent to basically anything. So like there'd be like 2 words crossing each other,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you play that and it's on a triplet or whatever, and you combined like 3 different words and you just stack up the points. It's crazy.
See, I have to, because we read over the rules again yesterday, and I thought it said no abbreviations, no, no words that are normally capitalized. No,
Correct.
maybe they changed them for tourneys.
No, I believe that that it's because they are actually like they're actual words.
All right, well, we'll see.
Merriam-Webster, impress your friends with these additions. Okay, so the ability to add, so according to Merriam-Webster.com, the ability to add seemingly random letters to existing ones will allow a player to enjoy a far greater latitude in the board.
Well, if this is how you guys play, I got to bone up then.
It's not how I play, though. Like 2 of my friends entered and we just played. This woman just annihilated us. And we're like, this isn't even fun.
Yeah, that's no fun.
So actually, there's a website, wineverygame.com, that actually does have the definitions to some of these. So like,
really?
So like QI is circulating life energy. It's a life energy.
That's isn't that
a word?
It seems like an abbreviation.
XU is a monetary unit of Vietnam. So it'd be like saying dollars, basically.
Melissa.
Za is a slang word for pizza.
Oh yeah, I know you could use slang because Debbie used poop, and so I said, all right, if you're going to do that, I used poon.
Also, a Greek letter counts, so that's why MU or NU count.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I took a year of Greek in high school.
A li is a Chinese unit of distance.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
all right.
But my wife and I don't play that way, so we would have fun with you, as opposed to just min-maxing the board.
Min-maxing, using the minimum letters to maximize your points. Is that what that means?
Yeah, min-maxing is shorthand for basically in gaming. It just refers to people that basically understand the maximum potential of any particular part of the game
All right.
And basically memorize it and learn it so that they can basically take advantage of
Little loopholes.
some game mechanic, right?
right.
To just like destroy everybody. And in some cases, it also means that they have like many combinations of things memorized. So if you're in a card game, like they min-max, like they might know like basically like the kind of like card counting almost.
Yeah.
It's not a literal term, like, but slang
Sure,
in
sure.
terms of the way it's used is basically what min-maxing means. But it's like a gamer term, basically for an asshole. So
Well, that's, I mean, I get competitive, but it was fun because we, like I said, we had a little, sausage and cheese. Then I fired up a big cigar. We had a few mango margaritas and a nice Jackson Brown soundtrack. And the afternoon was just gorgeous. And the dogs were laying in the grass. It was just fun.
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. We needed a weekend day like that. We had not had one in a long time. And, now that, things have gotten, things are fine with my mom's health wise. It's just trying to get, again, stuff done that she doesn't really want to get done. It's like, all right. But, she let us get rid of she bought a sewing machine 50 years ago. And when she bought it, it was like top of the line sewing machine. And she borrowed the money from my grandpa to get this sewing machine. And he was like, you're going to have to sew a hell of a lot of clothes to pay for this. And she did. She made a lot of our clothes. She made Halloween costumes. She made vestments and all kinds of things for church. She used that sewing machine nonstop. Nice. And then she stopped. She got to a certain point. She wasn't doing it anymore. And a couple years ago, when we were cleaning out the house, I was like, can we finally get rid of the sewing machine? No, I'm going to use it again. I said, okay, how about this? How about a deal? If you don't touch it in a year, then we can donate it. Fine. Well, now it's been 2 years. And so I said to her, it's been 2 years. Okay. But she was happy because one of the teachers at school, this young teacher, bought a bus that she's turning into like a mobile STEAM lab, science, technology, math, STEM lab. Okay. Or she just did a birthday party in it. She decorated it as the magic school bus for Halloween at our Halloween thing. She's really creative. She does a lot of crafts. And I said to her, I go, hey, you wouldn't need a sewing machine, would you? And so I gave her the sewing machine today. And my mom had bought spools of thick decorative ribbon that had never been used. And so I was like, can I give this to teachers too? Yep. And there were some things that I gave to the kindergarten teachers today that they went crazy for. So it's much easier for her to say, yes, you could donate it when I say this is where it's going, not just to Goodwill or Salvation Army. It's going to some teachers because she was a kindergarten teacher for a long, long time. It's like, hey, this is going to teachers. Oh, well, that makes me happy. Yes, that would be great. So we got that done. Got it out of the house.
I just did that same thing with I had a first printing, issue number 1 of Goosebumps.
Wow.
The R.L. Stine children's.
Yes.
Guess how much?
I'd like to do that in a book club.
Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Welcome to Dead House is the first issue.
Okay.
How much
did you have a first edition?
Because I was little when it came out.
Okay.
Guess how much it's worth?
$60,000.
$1.50.
Oh.
Turns out no one cares. But perhaps like your mother in the sewing machine, I have it, and it's like a thing that's somewhat, I don't know, notable. It's like, it feels like it should be worth something, and I've had it forever.
Right.
So I'm not gonna like give it away for like $1. Like I had this when I was like 8, and then I'm not gonna
save it for your son.
Well, I was gonna, but then my friend John Martin, my co-host on Game Life Balance US, he is obsessed with horror. Halloween's his favorite time of year. He wants to introduce his kids to horror, and we were talking about it, and I was like, do you want my copy of Goosebumps? And he's like, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, this is like amazing. So it was like the best thing ever. But I was happy to give it to him because I know his kids, and like that'll be
he will appreciate it. And it's not in some cardboard box at the back of a donation center.
It was sitting in a like my wife's beautiful library down the hallway, like all her nice like highfalutin books, and I've got Goosebumps, Welcome to Dead House in there. Like,
That
what?
seems about right. That sounds okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, last Monday we were not here because I had to. I was at a wake last Monday and a funeral on Tuesday for technically my cousin, but we called him uncle. He was my dad's first cousin. He left Ireland when in 1965 he came over and he lived with my grandfather, my dad's dad, and my aunt and my dad's aunt for a long time. He was Pat Noonan was his name. So he actually we hung out with his sisters when we were in Ireland. When we were in Milford, that's the town he's from. So when we went to dinner and took the tour of the graveyards and stuff, that was all with his sisters and their husbands. And when we had that big dinner at the hotel, it was a lot of his family's nephews and things like that. So, he got here in 1965. 2 years later, he was drafted. He was in the military police in Vietnam. Then he was an air marshal. And then he started working for the U.S. Customs Service. And he ended up being like the head customs guy at O'Hare. Anybody who came in, his face was on the poster. He handled all customer relations for the customs service at O'Hare. And we grew up with him. He's still, till the time he had a stroke about 12 years ago, and a second stroke is what ended up killing him. But he still had his brogue because he went back all the time to Ireland. We were here so some of the people that I hung out with that we visited in Ireland were here for the wake and the funeral, which when you say it's nice, that's weird. I mean, obviously we would have liked to see them under better circumstances, but it was nice to get to talk to them and see them again and stuff. So it was all the funeral was all very nice. Beautiful Irish music, nice thing. I will say this, a funeral procession for a guy who suffers from horrific road rage is probably the worst transit possible. Because I have to get in a line and I can't honk. And I can't get mad because everybody has to go slow. Now, can I get frustrated because we're coming up to a light and the person in front of me is not keeping up with the car in front of them, which could cause a little issue? Sure, I get a little frustrated, but am I going to do that because Debbie's in the car and I'm a pallbearer and I don't want to have my own stroke driving to the funeral? No, I don't. So I was proud of myself because I didn't lose my mind in the procession. I almost lost my mind as we left the church to go to the cemetery, because there's a thing now. I don't know if this happened a long time ago. I don't ever remember it when I went to funerals younger, where you drive by the person's house, the deceased person's house, like for one last. And I hate to sound crass, but they can't see the house. They're, in a box. They're not there. But I guess now people do it. If you're close enough, like their house was between the church and the cemetery.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess, I don't know. That's a thing.
I've never heard of that. Is it Irish?
No, I think more people than just Irish people. I think when I want it, boy, no, there've been one or two funerals where I've heard people do that.
Okay, I've been to a couple Catholic funerals in the last 5 years, and never. I don't. Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Well, here's one thing that is Irish that thank God we didn't do. So my cousin asked me if I would be a pallbearer when we were at the wake. He goes, "Will you be a pallbearer? You and my two youngest brothers, and then so it was the three of us, and then his three of his nephews from Ireland, who we all knew. So it's like, all right. So we're lining up next to the casket as the hearse is outside, and my cousins go, "Are we putting him up on our shoulders?" And I'm like, "No, we don't do that in this country. The old school way where the six guys lift you up and you rest the coffin on your shoulder and they carry it out like that. Of course you don't, because we don't do that really in this country."
No, that sounds hard.
It was, and he was, because we were all like, And he was very small when he passed away, because the box must have weighed, if it weighed 300 pounds, I wouldn't be surprised. And we're like, oh my God, this casket is heavy. And the undertaker was like, or the funeral director, I don't know, undertaker. You know what, Cody? You would appreciate this. It was actually the undertaker. Yup. Actually the undertaker.
That is shocking to me because
I was waiting for the special. That's exactly what the guy looked like.
Brian, how are you today?
I'm better than I was last week. Thank you.
Good. Have a good rest of your show.
Thank you.
Rest in peace. Bong.
See, now I get why the casket was so heavy, because the undertaker could lift it no problem.
Well, he's 7 feet tall. So
Right, exactly. But the six of us were like, this thing's pretty heavy. The undertaker said, oh yeah, it's solid wood.
I just leaned off camera for a second. Anything happened when I was gone?
No, it was very. I thought you were having a little lighting issue. Things got, or maybe the blood all rushed to my head when I was telling the story. It got kind of reddish and darkish a little bit, but
Weird.
no. Carol says when my mom died in the mid '80s, we drove past our house on the way from the church to the cemetery.
Huh.
And Barbara says it's a thing. They drive by houses a lot. See, I haven't been part of that, but so that's fine. We're going to drive by the house. Okay. And we're in this procession. Now it's the hearse, the immediate family, then a white van driven by my cousin who is from Milford but lives in Lithuania. And she, for some reason, I don't know how she got to drive the van. I did ask later, I go, how did you get put in charge of driving a van over here? It was full of all the Irish relatives. And she goes, because in Lithuania, I drive on this side of the road. So none of the others could. So that's why I drove, because in Lithuania,
That's funny.
this is the side of the street. So we're all following along, and the old stock joke of how I forget who did it. It was I'm sure a million guys did it, but a famous comic was like, isn't it ironic that on your funeral is the only time you can run red lights, blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. And we're going along. It's fine. And we make a turn off a busy street, and we're in this subdivision. And I'm like, this doesn't look like their street. So we go down, and we're heading east. And then we turn the corner and we start coming up the next street heading west. And I'm like, this is not their street. I've been to the house. It's not, no. And I'm like, what? So now we get back to the busy street and we have to turn left over a 4-lane major street.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. So the hearse makes it, because the hearse is a hearse, and everybody goes, oh, it's a funeral. Well, now the hearse makes it, the immediate family makes it, the white van full of Irish people does not make it across.
No,
So
you gotta
now-
keep going. No.
Now we are backed up, and it was a big procession. It was a big funeral. He had impacted a lot of people. So we're stuck, and we can't turn left because cars are whipping by both ways, and the Irish people are kind of halfway out, and it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And I'm like 3 cars back, and I'm like, at this point, I don't know who's in the van. I'm like, who's driving that van? They gotta do something. We're all stuck. The van finally makes the turn, and we start to go, and everybody, we had our flashes on and our brights, and we're kind of honking, and people are and some woman flipped me off. We make the left turn, and she pulls up next to us, and she's like, I'm trying to give you room. I'm like, whoa, nice. You flip off people at a funeral. This is
Awesome.
This is how different. And then we're going, all right, now we find the right street. The problem was they missed the turn for that street. So instead of going down the street behind and then everybody just driving past, they started going down this very narrow street that they live on. And thank God I look up because I'm like, there's the house. And I see the hearse has already pulled into the driveway and made a U-turn and is coming back. And a couple cars, and I'm like, I can't go to, because now I don't know if they were expecting everybody to drive up and make a U-turn because they missed the turn. So I stop at the stop sign and I whip into this little parking lot and come out. Now, some people are following me and doing that. Some people are still going down the street to try to see the house. We pull back onto a busy street, and the procession now has to be going 3 blocks, maybe, on this busy street, waiting to turn left into the dead end street that they have to make a U-turn on. And I'm like, what the? And now I see Molly's car because Molly had driven herself. Well, Molly is not paying attention to the road. There's a huge gap between the car in front of Molly, and she's looking down, and I'm like, oh, I said, you got to talk to Molly. I can't talk to Molly about this because I'm like, because I was honking. I was going to let her whip around and U-turn in front of me so she didn't have to go all the way. We get to the cemetery, and there's a couple cemetery workers like telling everybody where to park. Well, there were a lot of cars with really old people who couldn't walk that far, so they were kind of just parking wherever the hell they wanted. And I get out of the car, and one of the cemetery workers is just screaming into his walkie-talkie, they're parking themselves. They're parking themselves. What in the hell is going on at this cemetery? Thankfully, we got them all buried. But then, I also remember back in the day when you had a graveside ending, you just leave while the casket was still sitting up on the thing.
Yeah.
People didn't used to wait till they lowered.
No, they don't know.
They do now.
Who?
And we've done it I think we did it for my dad and my aunt. And I started with one of my grandparents because I don't know why. They were afraid that, somebody was going to steal the casket.
It's not universal because I've never seen this happen.
Well, like at Roger's dad's funeral, it was a Jewish funeral and we did the shovels of dirt. And my cousins in Ireland still do the shovel of dirt.
What is like every person?
Every person throws a little dirt.
Okay.
So they've already lowered. Well, they go to lower and they're like, the sticker on the casket is wrong. They had the wrong middle initial. I didn't even know there was a sticker on the casket. Before they lower it into the vault, they put a sticker on it. So I don't know why. I don't know if they have to exhume people a lot. I don't know what's going on, but there's supposed to be the little sticker. Well, the sticker had the wrong middle initial. So first, my cousin goes up and he scratches out with a pen and changes it and initials it. And then the cemetery guy goes, oh, I got to go get a new sticker. So everything is done. The priest is gone. Everybody's just standing around waiting for them to lower him into the vault. And now this guy has to get in a backhoe and drive to wherever the office is to get a new sticker to put on the casket because they legally can't put him in the ground with the wrong name on the casket. I learned so much this day. 1, funeral directors don't use Waze. 2, there's a sticker on the casket. 3, everybody puts, we got the pallbearers. It was rough. The pallbearers, you got to put your gloves on there. Then everybody gets a rose that was at the funeral parlor in one of the arrangements, and you lay the rose on top of the casket. And then we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and the sticker finally came, and then they lower them in. But to me, that's the hardest part. That's like, oh my God, I'd rather just walk away with the casket sitting there covered in flowers and go, okay, see ya.
So did you wait?
Yeah, everybody was waiting. What was I going to do? Go to the lunch and start drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did because I drove pretty fast after that. I didn't have to wait in the line. It was not a procession. It was me dropping the hammer and going the exact right way. So I got there and I walked in. Now this is where the lunch was at Gaelic Park. Perfect Irish setting. Big misstep at first. They had one bartender for
Ooh.
about 150 Irishmen coming in to a funeral lunch, all wanting pints of Guinness that take a while to settle. And this one cranky old woman who was the bartender who was yelling at everybody. They finally got a second bartender, but it was like these guys. There were some guys I think who stood at the bar the whole time, didn't even eat lunch. They're just just there. It was crazy.
That is rough.
It was insane.
We should have led with that story. That's an amazing story, though. A lot of stuff happened.
A lot of stuff happened. But he is buried, so rest in peace. And he was a lot of good memory. He was like any holiday back when he was working as a air marshal or doing before he got like bumped up to the front office customs. Any holiday or anything, after a few drinks after dinner, we'd go tell some airport stories. He had the greatest stories of people trying to smuggle stuff in or do all this. There were pictures at the funeral. He escorted Princess Diana when she came over. It was great. It was really nice. But yeah, they were. It was crazy. Just a lot of goofiness. But this was like after most of the, at the funeral home, everything was fine. The mass was beautiful. Great, great Irish singer with he was accompanied by a guitarist and an accordion player. And then at some point he played the bodhrán. And, my uncle's old partner made some comments that were wonderful. And then my cousin got up to talk about his dad. And that was when everybody finally broke. We were trying to be stoic, but everybody broke. It was like, so that was that. But yeah, so I just couldn't believe we all got lost. And Cody, imagine you're sitting there and you see a nightmare unfolding in front of you. The hearse now is coming at me. Everybody else I'm seeing trying to turn in the driveway. I'm like, this is going to take the better part of a week and a half to get there. I'm telling you, the procession was gigantic, and when we got to lunch, that was the one thing everybody's talking. Can you believe they got lost? How did they get lost? I guess at one point my cousin tried to overtake the hearse to get them to turn down the right street, and that didn't work. So just a crazy cluster, but it makes for a good story.
It does.
It makes for a good funeral story.
I mean,
funerals aren't supposed to have lighthearted tales afterward.
No, but that's an adventure. And particularly I'm thinking about streets, not just like suburban 2-lane streets, but like Chicago streets.
Like I'm trying. All right. The Kingery Highway. You know how busy North
83.
Avenue and the Kingery Highway
83 and 20. Sure.
Yeah.
Those by the Kennedy and off the Jane Ryan Adams.
Yes.
Tollway.
Busy
Kennedy.
like those streets.
Yeah.
Busy streets.
Dan Ryan.
Where you shouldn't try to take a left when you've got. It's different if I'm just following you and you go, all right, Brian's behind me. I'm going to make this left. He's going to make it. When you got 100 cars behind you, you can't pull that crazy.
Well, if I'm going on the Jane Eyre Stevenson.
Go on the Jane Eyre, yes.
Into the Swarovski.
Hold on, you keep talking. I gotta let Gidget out.
Let Gidget out.
Just out of the office.
Let Gidget out. Wow, he's just went off camera. He's just like, I don't want any piece of this. I'm looking at my list. Brian still has to talk about a dog and a beer thing, which I know what those are. I still haven't talked about the tooth thing. I got sidetracked with the date. Well, daycare was on the schedule, but then we got sidetracked with book club. But
book club.
We got a lot to get to in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Brian,
we gotta start hanging.
You got a dog thing. You got a beer thing.
Well, I just want to plug because there's still time for people to get their tickets.
Yes.
This week is Illinois Craft Beer Week. Even though Cody is drinking a Manhattan and I'm drinking water, it is Illinois Craft Beer Week.
Old fashioned.
And that culminates in what did I say?
Manhattan.
Oh, I said a Manhattan? He's drinking an old fashioned.
I don't even know what that is, but I hate New York. So continue.
I like Manhattans.
I think I'm grabbing my water over here.
All right. So Illinois Craft Beer Week always culminates with beer under glass. You've heard Cody and I talk about it before. You've seen us drunkenly post Facebook Live updates about it. It is a wonderful, wonderful event. 120 breweries from across Illinois are going to be represented this Friday, the 26th of May, year of our Lord 2023, at Chicago Union Station. So it's where the state of Illinois meets Chicago. That's kind of the slogan. So 120 breweries, like I said, from all over the country. That's where Cody discovered the dill pickle beer last year.
Oh.
That's where we tried wonderful offerings from probably way too many breweries.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be at the Garfield Park Observatory, and then, of course, Conservatory. Thank you, Cody. And then COVID hit, and they didn't have it, and they brought it back at a smaller degree at Garfield Park. And then last year, they moved it down to Union Station, and it was a lot of fun. So
it was really fun.
This Friday, you can still get some tickets. If you want, you can get general admission tickets. You can get VIP tickets. They are not, let me see. General admission is $50. VIP early entry, so you get an extra hour. That's $60. It starts 5:30 to 8:30, unless you're a VIP like me. Then you get in at 4:30. You could be a VIP too. So Union Station, you go to illinoisbeer.org. If you click under events, you'll see Illinois Craft Beer Week and then Beer Under Glass, or just illinoisbeer.org/bug. BUG Beer Under Glass. I'm sorry you can't go this week. You're going to be up in Minnesota having your yearly fun game weekend.
Me too. Yeah, my Game Life Balance US co-host Jonathan Martin very generously empties his home and hosts all of our nerd friends for a board game weekend every Memorial Day. I'm going for an abbreviated time. I'm just flying up Friday morning, coming back Sunday morning. Usually I do all 4 days, but I have 2 kids, and I like to be a responsible father because they're very young. And but my wife's got a bunch of plans while I'm gone. She wouldn't even miss me. I'll be gone all day Friday and Saturday, and come back Sunday.
Well, your son's going to be at school and then at his job. He works third shift at the plant, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Well, then he's got to mow the lawn and do the weed whacking.
Listen, there's a lot you got a big yard. Somebody's got to tend to it when you're not around. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'll keep you posted of any unusual. We usually have a good time there.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's never been on Memorial Day weekend before, though.
Nah.
So that's one thing, but we will see. But yeah, everybody from all over the state is going to be there. So I'll report in.
Please do.
The wife is coming with me this year.
Oh, the wife.
The wife is coming. She went to the first one or two. She went to 2 at Garfield Park Conservatory.
Who's going to drive?
The train. So you know how happy I am about that.
Yeah, what? How did that come about? Have you ever heard of Uber.com?
Here's the thing, though. The train is like 2 blocks from my house, and it goes right into Union Station.
Oh, the Metra.
The Metra.
Well, that doesn't.
Yeah, it's not. Is it the Metra? I don't know what it is. It's the train, I guess. The train. What's the train? Not the L. Is it Metra?
It's not the L?
No, it's not CTA. It's
well,
a train.
Okay. Well, then you're not. Then it's not real. Come on.
It's a train.
No, it is not. It is a real. It's not the Met. It's not the. It's
not a locomotive like it's 1982 or 1892.
You know what it doesn't have is anything I say will sound insensitive.
No, go ahead, please.
It doesn't have people eating their own feces on it.
No,
generally that's a different train in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, that's any CTA. That's in the elevated line.
Icebag John took the train the morning of our book club meeting yesterday, and a guy sat next to him and asked if he could do heroin while sitting next to him. So he moved. And I don't remember if the gentleman did heroin, but that happened at 10:30 in the morning yesterday. So on the Metra, not as big in the heroin users in their seat demographic.
Now, the only time I've taken the Metra was last year for this same event when I was meeting you, where you were coming from somewhere else. I don't know how you got there.
God, no, I don't know, probably some parenting thing.
But I took the train last year. And Debbie dropped me off at the train station because I didn't want to walk the 2 blocks. But it was, all I remember was I got on the train and it stopped about, I get on at Oak Park Avenue and the train stopped at Armitage, which is 8 blocks, and it sat for 20 minutes. And I was like, I could have walked this amount to the next station and been fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But then there were a lot of drunk people from the Beer Under Glass on the way home. So that should be fine. So it's the Metro. That's the train. It's got a big locomotive engine on it.
Yeah, but here's what I meant
What do
when I said
you
that.
consider the train?
Well, no, it's a train. What I meant is it's not really public transit, the kind that you loathe. It is not
it is.
It's not the like gooey
Right. It's a
body moisture acid trip that is like a bus or like a regional bus. This is like a nice, it's a nice piece of region. It's like one of the only good infrastructures we have in this country, and it's bad, but it's like, and it's worse than everywhere else, like Europe or Japan. But like it exists, and it's not covered in piss all the time, which the L is. So
that's all right. All right, you're right. I'm not going to be on the CTA, so that is a step up.
Yeah.
I still have to. And I guess there's a person, a live human being that walks through and makes sure everybody paid to get on, and and they do announce state. Well, I don't have to worry about them announcing stations.
You do on the way back.
On the way back, I do.
Made that mistake before. Don't want to do that.
Trust
then
me,
you'll go to Uber.com.
I was panicked last year that I was going to pass out on the train coming home and end up, I don't know, in Iowa somewhere.
Yeah.
At the big truck stop, the I-80.
It's a good truck stop.
It is a good truck stop, but would have been a long way for Debbie to come and pick me up, because you think I'm getting in the car with an Uber. One of the teachers today had to take an Uber to school because her husband's car broke, and so she took an Uber, ended up getting picked up by one of my students' dads. And she's like, he did not stop talking the entire time. And now he knows where I live. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's insane.
It is insane. Everything is insane. But yeah, that's so again, IllinoisBeer.org. That's this Friday. You can check it out. You'll see me there. I'll be the guy who's drinking beer. I'm easy to spot in that mix. Try to get Debbie to try some. She's excited because there's a couple cideries there too.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like cider.
That's right. They always do have some cideries, and we always skip it because you don't like cider. I mean, I like.
I was gonna say, do you like cider?
I'll do a cider, but like if my option is cider or dark beer, like come on.
Yeah, I tried a new beer this week.
What was it called?
You probably had it. Anchor.
Nope.
Anchor is the brewery. Steam. It's Anchor Steam beer.
No.
And it's a light amber, very good. Because there's some teachers at school that are big beer nerds, and this one there's a liquor store by her house that always has the latest releases of like Hot Butcher and some other things. So she started texting me when she's at the store going, hey, there's this. It was just brewed a week ago, and this was brewed yesterday, and this was, and the first time she brought me something, it was a Hot Butcher, and it was too insanely hoppy. It was it was crazy. I couldn't. And then last week she sends me some stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm probably gonna, 2 weeks ago, I got a phase 3 Maibach, which was phenomenal. So you can buy 1 can, 2 cans. She buys me 2 cans. She brings it. I pay her. And then last week it was all hoppy stuff. And I was like, nah, that's, I'm not really too hoppy. So thank you. But I think I'm going to pass this week. And then she goes, well, if you don't, and I said, to be honest, I don't care if it was brewed yesterday or 3 weeks ago. This other teacher is very big on it has to be the freshest of the fresh. And she goes, what about this one? And I was like, oh, I've heard of Anchor Steam. And I'm just on the box. I read, light amber ale, crisp and refreshing, light hops, malt. And I'm like, yeah, let me try that one. That would be great. Oh my goodness. It's delish. I shouldn't be talking about it during Illinois Craft Beer Week, but I did mention phase 3 in their Maibach, which is an Illinois beer, which was phenomenal. So
I have stopped drinking almost entirely.
Except for an old fashioned?
Only this show. The show's really, like, honestly, Yeah, even at parties and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I'll do water. I don't know. I gave up beer, like, really. Well, it's weird. I gave up alcohol for Lent, but I still
Right.
had like 3 drinking weekends.
Yeah.
So it's not like I really gave it up, but dude, I don't know what happened. Over the last couple of months, I just lost the taste for beer. Like, I have a fridge full
Wow.
of, I've got,
What do you got? Natty Ice?
no, I've got Allagash in there, and I've got some Blue Moons, and I'm into those, and a
Yeah.
couple Goose Island Summertimes, and a few more of the stouts from Revolution, couple Bourbon County stouts I haven't tapped into, a couple hazy IPAs. The hazy IPA is the only kind of IPA I'll drink. I don't like
Okay.
happy. None of like every day after work. Like, what I'll do is I'll grab, if I really want a treat, I'll have a sugar-free Mountain Dew.
Wow.
Which is like 0 sugar, so it's 0 carbs, so I don't have to do insulin for it. But
You and
yeah,
Debbie with the sugar-free Mountain Dew.
dude, it's weird. It's weird.
Wow.
So maybe it's a sign. Maybe that's why I'm missing this week. Maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, or I would have gotten back into beer, and that cost me money in the long run, or something.
Wow.
I don't
All
know.
right. Well, Godspeed to you.
I'll get back on it. It's just, you go in phases.
And if you don't, you don't. I don't. I'm not one of these guys who judges people. I know a lot of people who stop drinking.
Yeah, no, dude, I'll go like 6 weeks without doing any edibles, or vaping or smoking weed or any of that, and then one day I'll just be like, I'm gonna get high, and I just do that for a couple of weeks, and then I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
it's just like that.
I was contemplating an edible yesterday, but the day was too perfect. I didn't want to risk it.
So my thing now, when I get high, every time I get high, I end up on YouTube watching Norm Macdonald videos. And it's the greatest thing ever. It's not
it always feels like Norm was high.
Oh my God. It's him on Conan. That's all you just go on YouTube and search Norm Macdonald, Conan O'Brien. And
good.
Everyone is a masterpiece.
Yeah, he was just brilliant.
So yeah, Norm Macdonald is my high buddy, apparently.
It's your high one. I don't know if I could play Scrabble high. So it's probably best.
Dude, it'd be more fun high.
We got
to get together and play Cards Against Humanity high.
We got it. Let's go. Let's do it. We're gonna yes. That's I'm down. But then who's gonna are you gonna bring the kids and put them to bed here, or what are you gonna do?
We'll host a game night.
All right. Listen,
time.
I don't want I'd love it. I'm hoping that your son will stick around and either talk to me in Spanish or offer me something in Spanish. Mike, that is a good. Well, Cody's not drinking anymore, Mike. The Realities May Vary bar crawl is. Yeah.
I'll think about it.
You know what else I've been thinking of? Merch.
Because
of Roger. We'll have to talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about
it.
If
Roger could sell merch, we could sell some merch.
Well, look, we got a minute left. We previewed Dog Malady. What happened to your dog?
I think Gidget is going deaf.
Oh.
I think Gidget is losing her hearing.
I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, I got to talk to. I actually got to talk to Steve Dale because I looked up some stuff and she's fine. She's eating and she's all that, but she seems to not be hearing things. She's 13, so she's up there. But one of as I was reading on the American Kennel Club website, it's like one of the symptoms is they don't respond to you calling them much anymore, which she doesn't really do. And they're asleep so soundly because they can't hear you coming. And the last month or so, when she's asleep, she's like dead to the world. So I almost have to go up and tap her, and then she jumps. She gets nervous, but she's, other than that, she's whining a little more. And we're debating now because everything I read is like it's old age, just like people start losing their hearing at a certain age. And so there's really nothing you could do. I'm like, we can't get her dog hearing aids or one of those cones that she just carry around in one paw. And, so what Mike says, stop your feet. So what I start doing is a loud clap, and they say the vibration, either stomping your feet like Mike says, or a loud clap. She's here. Like if she's in the yard and she's not, I call her and she doesn't hear, I clap real loud once, and that gets her attention, and then she, comes right over. Yeah. But she still knows, she still goes around, she moves around the house fine. She goes in the yard fine. She went to my ma's, and, she's good.
There's nothing to worry about, really. Just
like, oh, she's going deaf or losing her hearing. I don't know. She can still hear something. So she still knows where the treats are. So that's all that really matters.
Perfect.
And she still gets cranky when I'm up here. Because I'm like, oh, good. If she's losing her hearing, she's not going to hear what I'm in here talking. So she'll just chill. She must hear something because she's like, I've had enough of this garbage.
It's the vibration. You got a deep voice. You can
I
hear
do. I vibrate.
Yeah.
I vibrate. But the other night I was doing radio and she slept in here for me with the whole show. And as soon as I was done, she was, she heard me like say goodnight, and I pushed back and turned some stuff off. She was at the door like, all right, I put up with it for 3 hours. It's time to go. Like,
that's awesome.
Let's go. We got to roll. So, that's, so we covered a lot of stuff.
We did. I got one more thing.
Do it. Bring
quick, let's belated, but it's Friday. I went into Rockford with my family for a celebration of my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
What? Congratulations.
Yes.
Holy 50 years?
50 years.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So my sister wonderfully put together this beautiful, she kind of got the idea from my cousin. My cousin got married last summer, and they had a newspaper instead of a program. You showed up at the ceremony, and it was like a 12-page newspaper with little articles, fake articles, and like pictures of them and stuff. So my sister did it. She got all of their college friends and all of our family and cousins and my friends, and we wrote little blurbs and kind of put in there.
Wow.
And she put pictures of them from when they taught English in Turkey back in the 70s, and when they went to Rockford College and all this stuff. And my mom had given my wife, or my sister rather, a dress, one of the bridesmaids' dresses from my mom's wedding. She still had somehow. And so my wife tried it on, and it fit like a glove. So my wife showed up in an original bridesmaid's dress from the wedding.
Whoa.
And I showed up in what the groomsmen were wearing, which I will hold up for the viewing audience.
Oh my God. Where did you find that tux?
So it's funny because, my sister texted my wife like a week ago, and it's like, Cody should try and get a groomsman tux. And I'm like, and I threw a fit. I'm like, that'll be impossible to find. I'm going to have to Google all this stuff. And how am I going to find blah, blah, blah? No one's going to fit me. My wife Googles basically like 70s white tux. And it was like the first result. And there were a bunch on eBay. And there was one in my size. And she just walks to my office 5 minutes later. She's like, do you want this? And I was like, oh, okay.
What have you been Googling? Have you been doing all the Googling?
Yeah. So she ordered the jacket. But my sister-in-law was wearing like a tank top that my mom had bought when they were traveling and wore a bunch in the 70s when they were like in Europe or something.
Oh my God.
So it was really well put together and cool, and took a bunch of photos, and there was a lot of merriment. But it was an impressive, love-filled evening, and just I consider myself very close to my parents. I should probably call them more. But what happened to my computer?
I don't know. You're fine here.
My whole monitor turned off for a second.
Oh, because I can hear you and see you.
I consider myself very close to my parents, and it's certainly one of their many admirable qualities is being together for 50 years.
That is an achievement. Holy cow.
Yeah. Very, very happily, and everything's just great with them.
Your mom and dad are very nice people, and they're very graceful. Congratulations to them. That's cool.
They're unbelievable.
How did they respond to you and your wife's attire?
They got a kick out of it. I mean, there was a lot, like everybody kind of had some kind of inkling of an outfit from that era or a little 70s theme. So but it was really nice.
Wow.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. Happy anniversary to them, and just awesome. We went from the whole gamut from funerals to anniversaries here and weddings and stuff. And
talked about children at the beginning.
Children, yeah, all of life stages. And the
full circle.
only thing I didn't talk about was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the phenomenal Zelda game that, frankly, Brian, the listener / viewer is lucky I'm here and not playing The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom for the Nintendo Switch. 10 out of 10 from nearly every publication. One of the top 5 highest rated games of all time on Metacritic. Broke every UK video game sales record, every Zelda sales record. It is on track to become one of the greatest selling Zelda games of all time. And I'm going to be playing it right after this.
Wow.
Back to you, Brian.
Let's not keep you from that. That sounds like an incredible experience, and I can't wait to hear more about it. But no, I know you're going to enjoy it. So let's wrap it up. And thank everybody for watching and listening and following and telling your friends and keeping us going. And so, blah, blah, blah. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And thanks, audience. Thanks, Mike, for sending me a video and then referencing it in the chat, and then me forgetting that you sent it to me. So then I got freaked out that you referenced it. Because that's what one old fashioned will do to you. So winners don't do drugs. Bye.